Hello, internet friends, and welcome to the Retribution Paladin summary. And if you are photosensitive, please be careful because you're about to see. Yeah! Oh, baby! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Where's Darnell? Goodness me! Some of the effect animations on the Retribution Paladin are ridiculously awesome. So I will run through a little bit more of those as I start off here. I'm gonna go back to Virtue's Blade real quick just to calm it down a little bit there, but I'll go over my bug report as I hit some things in the background. So, currently, Blessing of Wisdom doesn't work. It just, like, spams. It doesn't actually bless yourself, so it doesn't actually work at all. So there's that. Zeal, which is a talent right here, does not denote the cleave radius on the cleave mechanic built into the Zeal replacement to Crusader Strike. It also doesn't tell you the maximum amount of stacks you can get on Zeal, which is actually 3. So you have to find that out yourself. So little things like that could be better communicated in the tooltip. Repentance tooltip also denotes that Censure no longer breaks the damage, but Censure doesn't exist anymore, so that is a small change, but it's still a change nevertheless. Divine Steed doesn't work. It just doesn't work at all. Holy Wrath has no animation, so I will not be showing off Holy Wrath in here. Also, based on our preliminary testing, Holy Wrath is just like hot garbage. So hopefully it gets fixed, because it's just like not good. It's just not good. And Hand of Light, the mastery for Retribution Paladins, which is listed, of course, in the back end of your spellbook, is doesn't work. Nothing happens. It's not rolled into the tooltips. It's not rolled into the effect of the ability. Doesn't work. So it's just currently not working. So damage numbers may seem a little low. Just, I mean, not really. I mean, how are you talking? Bonk. But so what else is wrong? Tyrellion's Might, which is your new sprint charge crazy Tyrael's sword from Heroes of the Storm charge effect doesn't actually work. It just like, yay. So the damage does apply. However, the damage continues to tick after the effect should be canceled. If you charge back to the sword, it's supposed to be canceling and ending the damage per second tick, but it still keeps going. So just a small problem there. Also, there's no range denoted on the AoE radius, so you actually don't even know what the radius for the explosion is. I'm assuming 8 yards, but it says the pulse is 8 yards. The explosion has no radii, so that should be denoted on the ability. Yeah, so let's dive right in here to all the notes that I have. Hopefully I have enough time to talk about these. So, yeah, let's show Blade of Justice off again here. This is Blade of Justice, which is your new ability as a Retribution Paladin, which is a 12-yard range, 12-second cooldown instacast that deals holy damage and generates 2 holy power. There's a new passive for the Retribution Paladins called Conviction, which that Crusader Strike and Blade of Justice have a 20% chance to generate 1 additional holy power. So, baseline, Blade of Justice generates 2 with a chance to generate 3. Now, there's a talent that you can take called Blade of Wrath, which lowers the cooldown by half, lowering the damage it deals. Overall, it would technically deal more damage because you have more casts off for a long period of time. It generates 1 holy power, again with the chance to generate the additional 1. So, as a net gain, 2 Blades of Wrath can generate 4 holy power, whereas 1 Virtue's Blade can generate 3. Just to go back and forth on that. Divine Hammer completely replaces the Blade of Justice, or Blade of Wrath, or Virtue's Blade, to become a swirling vortex of Hammer Doom! So it's a sort of an AoE passive, almost. It's a instant hit when you cast it as an 8-second cooldown, and then it does holy damage every time it spins around you. It replaces Blade of Justice, and it deals, gives you 1 holy power. So, pretty straightforward there. More of a cleave AoE build. What we did find out during testing here is the talents are left side is very single target. Middle is kind of like utility or like kind of a spammy GCD-ish build. Attack speed focused kind of stuff. And the far right is very AoE focused. Very AoE focused, which, maybe this means something. So you can judge everything in a area and then Sparkle Storm it to death, as well as Glitter Storm and Divine Hammer, and just spin to win, basically. Also, this means that Mass Judgment, because it increases the duration by 100%, Judgment will always be up. So the new biggest mechanic for Retribution Paladins is the Judgment window, or if you've ever played a Warrior before, the Colossal Smash window. Judging increases damage taken from both holy power generators and spenders by 30% on the judge target with a 12-second cooldown. So you don't just spam judgment anymore. If you play with mass judgment, you probably could. Might of the Virtue, however, will give you 1 holy power generated when you use it, or Judgment of the Bold increases the damage amp by 40%, not 30%. So there's a lot of, the theme that I found for Retribution Paladin so far is that there's a lot of, it can be a very slow-based, chunky, like crit mastery-based build, where you're really just like banking on all your builders and spenders doing more damage, but you're kind of like slow at building all these resources up. Or it can be incredibly fast-paced. Not only the build itself with a GCD locking, but you can also go Zeal and Seal of Light, which Seal of Light is just old school Inquisition, honestly. It's just attack speed. Attack speed from both Zeal and Seal of Light, however, are attack speed, not haste. Haste increases your GCD, or lowers your GCD window, as well as lowers the cooldown on some of your main abilities, right? But attack speed only affects your white bonks, which normally, without any attack speed, you're at a 3.6. Arguably, depending on what build you're rolling, your white attacks aren't going to do a lot of your damage. Alternatively, of course, if you do spec into Zeal and Seal of Light, which I hope are actually going to work real quick here. Probably not. Oh, come on, work with me here. Nope. Not doing it. I'll have to do a quick relog. One moment here. I'm going to jump inside and relog while I talk about some more things. So, while I do this, I'm going to first off say that the new Blessing of Might has a 10% chance to deal 30% holy damage, 30% additional holy damage on the attack that it procs off of. We did test it a lot. The proc can go off of any ability. The new blessing system with Retribution Paladin, specifically in this video, they can have 3 blessings up: Wisdom, Kings, or Might. Might is a DPS bonus. Wisdom is a mana regen plus HP heal. And Blessing of Kings is basically just a powered shield that refreshes every 6 seconds for an hour. And you can have 3 blessings up at any given time. 3 people maximum can receive your blessings. Blessing of Might, however, because it can be used on and proc off of any ability, this is going to be incredibly frustrating, I feel, for Retribution Paladins. They have to, like, re-bless certain people mid-fight. Like, your execute classes will want Blessing of Might when it's execute time. Your burst classes will want it when it's the beginning of a pull. I don't think it's a really fun mechanic, because I don't think a Retribution Paladin needs to be brought to the raid for some gimmicky, weird, gameable DPS increase. It's going to be weird. They already have Bop, and you can attack while bopped now. You can totally attack, you can get in there while bopped. It's just a physical damage bubble. So, you go to town. Bop was buffed. Boom, baby. They also have a new ranged slow in Hindrance here, which is Hand of Hindrance. They can take a cooldown-based talent where they can get Hammer of Justice up a lot faster with Fist of Justice, right? They also have their Blessing of Freedom still. They can have Bubble to immune certain effects and be totally badasses. They have Lay on Hands still. I mean, they've got Hand of Light, which is a kind of a touch of karma. Like, when you debuff the mob, whenever it takes damage, you get healed for 3% of your HP each time they take damage. So you can, like, you know, soak some damage or something like that. It could be a possibility. They also have their new Shield of Vengeance, which could be here, baseline, could be not, which is their own personal Pally Bubble, which they can absorb a whole bunch of damage and then reflect it back at the attacker. So they can be kind of resilient, okay? They don't need this weird Blessing of Might mechanic. I don't like it at all. I think it should either be changed to be a flat increase in damage without some weird gameable proc-based nonsense, or have a damage proc based on the Paladin's attack power. So it's a flat, raw buff to whoever you give it to, and it's just a small DPS gain for your raid. But what I was going to try to show was Seal of Light and Zeal, the attack speed build that I was kind of toying around with earlier. So Zeal is a stackable attack speed increase. It replaces Crusader Strike, as you'll see up here in the corner. It's a 20% increase attack speed buff each stack that you do. And it obviously is going to increase your attack speed. I'll bring this up here a little. So we're at 2.25. And the Seal of Light is a 3 holy power Inquisition, I guess, that gives you 35% attack speed and movement speed for 30 seconds. The movement speed's only 10%. That's kind of no really big deal. But as you'll see now, we're at 1.67. So the bonk spec for Retribution Paladins is very real. I think this would scale pretty well into the late game because weapon damage will become more important as you gain gear, whereas early it might not be too prevalent. So there's a lot of talk. I was talking with a couple different ret pallies in chat during the testing where you could spec like a haste mastery build and go like super GCD, super auto attack focused, or you can go like a crit mastery build and go really high damage, sort of slow burn, chunky ret paladin, which of course it'll all just come down to the propagation of, you know, what works better and what the numbers are like. But it's a very interesting change, because right now it's sort of you spec one way and you're a GCD locked weird monster, kind of a not as good of a warrior. This is kind of cool. I do think the new executioner sentence change is kind of lame. It's just a 10-second maintenance cooldown that deals single target damage, whereas consecration is almost the same thing, but it's AoE, right? I think this would be a little looked at, but again, Holy Wrath is awful and it doesn't work properly right now, and it has no beneficial synergies at all. What else do I have here? Divine Shield also no longer cuts your damage when you actually use it. So, oh gosh, I'm sorry I clicked on Maya. So Divine Shield no longer cuts your damage down. So like here, I'll hit for, you know, 11,000 right there. Then I'll bubble real quick and I will still bong for 11,000. 10.8. So pretty strong buff to both Blessing of Protection and Bubble. Where a Bubble right now cuts your damage in half and you can't attack during bop. So pretty huge bonuses. I'm not testing artifacts right now, as I've said in multiple videos, but you eventually become immune to forbearance, to your own forbearance with your artifact weapon. If that still sticks through, that's a pretty big change for ret pallies as well. Mass judgment animation and possible weird interactions with it being 30% judgment window on all the time versus the build spend window mode. So I went over that, how you kind of have this like, do you want the build spend version? Do you want this weird like AoE clustery build? Do you want this crit mastery or a haste mastery build, depending on how you want to play, or what works out better math-wise? We'll have to see. Yeah, Seal of Light plus Zeal equals all the bongs. Final Verdict is just passive damage. It doesn't actually change the effect or the look of the spell, which it used to and currently, but it's just the same thing. It just gives you more damage on Templar's Verdict, because Templar's Verdict now is holy damage, which it is not currently on live. It is weapon damage, or physical damage, I should say. But it is holy damage now, baseline. So it doesn't become the crazy BAM! Chime hammer like it does on live. And what else? Yeah, and Holy Wrath may eventually look cool, but it doesn't scale with Mastery. It stops your auto attacks, doesn't work with the Ashbringer's dupe passive where it replicates the attacks you use, and it doesn't scale with your weapon. It's just attack power based, is Holy Wrath. So it looks kind of bad. I think there's a lot of things that change for Retribution Paladins. I'm sort of weirded out by Holy Wrath being a huge ranged ability, because like Blade of Justice can be ranged, but 12 yards isn't incredibly big. Like this is 12 yards right here. Like that's still kind of melee range, like moving around from a boss mechanic or something like that. Judgment being 30 yards is also kind of weird to me, because you can judge from really far away, which I don't know why Retribution Paladins need to have such ranged abilities. It looks amazing though, doesn't it? It does. But I feel like they wanted Retribution Paladins to be more in melee in Legion, and they're not doing that. They're kind of like backtracking again on what they said. I don't know. But the builder spender window for Ret is a little different. The combo point system is a little more rolling based on what build you want to go. There's a couple of different options here. I think it looks pretty cool. It's incredibly flashy. There's some amazing spell effects going on with Ret Pallies, and it looks great. I think I'm excited for this being my main ult again in Legion, but we'll only have to see when it comes out. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the YouTube box below. I will see you on the live streams. If you like these little quick, kind of fast-paced videos, because there's a lot to go over, you can leave a like button, hit the like button and leave a like on the video. And well, check out my Patreon page. Maybe help me grow in the future and keep me doing this full time. I will see you on the live streams. I'll see you in more of these videos, and there are more to come, because I'm doing every single class twice. So link to the whole VOD for the entire testing process is in the description box. Whew. I'll see y'all later. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.